This week, the science behind the violence of VLNCE UNLTD, and Dalton Castle has had a makeover. Hello and welcome to Technique Tuesdays. I am the prestigious one, Joe Hendry, and welcome to another episode. This is the show where we break down the techniques that you see on Ring of Honor. First up, we've got the Mile High Magnum Dak Draper versus Eli Isom. Dak Draper is coming into this matchup with huge momentum and a newfound sense of respect from the roster and the fans with his unbelievable performance against the pure champion Jonathan Gresham. This was one of the cases in the industry where someone can get even more over in defeat. That's how impressive Draper was in that contest. However, Dak says that what he gets satisfaction from is not just participating, but moving up the ladder. And you know what they say, sometimes you've got to move sideways to move up, and that's exactly what he's done. He's applied to the board of directors at Ring of Honor to move divisions into the television rankings. So we'll see how he gets on against Eli Isom. Now, Isom takes issue with what Draper has been saying. Draper says that Isom is just happy to be there, whereas Draper wants to get to the top. Isom, on the other hand, says, I'm not just happy to be here, I'm going to compete tonight and humble Dak Draper. So let's see who comes out on top.
And so I think that speaks a lot of him trying to insert himself into the television title division after not being immediately successful in the pure division.
And it's crazy because a lot of people watch that match and think if he just got a rematch, he could possibly...
Wow!
One thing I want to talk about in this matchup is something you see a lot in professional wrestling, when someone has a waist lock and then they transition to reversing it and then their opponent takes the waist lock. There is a science behind it, and I want to show you this. Let's look at when Eli Isom has the waist of Dak Draper. What he does is takes his arm and he reaches to the inside of the leg of Eli Isom. He then uses that, the pull on the bicep, to switch it to what we would call a low inside single, when you are controlling your opponent's leg from the inside grip. He then transitions to take his own waist lock. Now, in order to reverse this, you are going to have to either reach that leg, but if you can't, you then need to break the grip, and that's exactly what Eli Isom does with that 2-on-1 grip that we've talked about before. He's then very quick, once he's claimed the wrist, to switch it once again to that low single, and once again coming back with a waist lock of his own.
Drops down, leapfrog, here we go, Eli Isom leapfrog, the agility to get over 6'5" man, and then drop kick him right in the face.
He just jumped over a mountain, man. Come on, even Superman can leap a strong building, but a single bound, wow! This guy's a superhero.
Dak Draper throws Eli Isom all the way across the ring with an impressive feat of strength from the corner. Now, he's looking to follow up on that with a deadlift suplex or perhaps even a gut wrench powerbomb, but you cannot complete the maneuver if, you guessed it, your opponent is claiming the inside single on one of your legs, and that's exactly what Isom is doing. That is how powerful controlling your opponent's center of gravity can be. Impressive defense from Eli Isom.
Up and over!
Nice!
Smooth salt from the second rope on the outside.
Now, this is Technique Tuesdays. It's all about the techniques that you see in the ring. It's not about the promos and the characters, this, that, and the next thing, but I will tell you, it's a little difficult to stay focused when your tag team partner re-emerges with a new entrance theme, a new look, and enters with such charisma that you just have to halt proceedings, and instead, let's look at Dalton Castle's new presentation.
Wait a minute. Dalton Castle? Dalton Castle is back. He looks fabulous.
This guy's so cool, man.
And look at a pink suit. Coming off a huge win at 19th anniversary where he defeated Josh the Goods Woods.
What an entrance, and how refreshing to see that injection of charisma into this program. But again, folks, I promise that's me done. I will now only talk about the techniques, the moves that you see, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Now watch this. Castle is in the ring, and you're about to see one of the most impressive technical displays that I've quite frankly ever seen in a Ring of Honor ring. Look how Dalton commands the ring. He's interrupted a match. He is owning the room, and watch this. He says he sees something in Draper, in Isom.
I see something inside you that I like. And I see something that I don't.
Wow. God.
Dalton Castle says he sees something he likes and something he doesn't. Follows it up with a beautiful, picture-perfect kick to the nuts. It is my personal favorite variation on that technique, the ancient kick to the nuts. It's so effective. Look at Isom going down. Little delay there until the pain just swells through the body, down to the floor, completely taking care of your opponent. Beautiful technique. Draper says, look, hey, here's a participation medal for him. Well, news for you, Magnum. You're not going to be having any participation for a few weeks because Castle comes back with a kick to the nuts. Absolutely beautiful. And this one's my favorite. Look at this, right?
Give him a participation rib.
Oh, God!
Ooh, equal opportunities there.
I'd tell you more about it, guys, but I gotta run. Unfortunately, I'm busy.
Massive kick to the mile-high magnums. Unbelievable impact, and also I have to say, people, perfect technique from Dalton Castle. I love to see it. I love to see when wrestlers become themselves, they find themselves again, and that's exactly what Dalton Castle has done. He's finding the entertainment. He's looking out for you, the viewer. That's exactly what we do, but I've got it out of my system now. Back to the program. Next up, it's VLNCE UNLTD versus LFI. Now, it's a common theme with LFI matches. It's very difficult to look at the techniques because there's so much going on at one time. You can see in the ring, Kenny King hits a beautiful picture-perfect power slam, but there's just carnage going on all across the outside area. There is something about professional wrestling when it feels like anything can happen, and that certainly applies to our main event picture at this moment. Just exactly as it was described, it's violence. Brutal strike after brutal strike, particularly from Brodie King and Rush, who are just going back and forth with those devastating open hand chops, and no one is backing down. So of course it escalates, eventually moving to what's quite frankly a signature move for Rush at this point, which is using that reinforced door of the protective barrier straight to the head of his opponent. Now let's go back to the ring and look at the interaction between Kenny King and Chris Dickinson. Watch this. Dickinson off the ropes, anticipates the kick, and he goes for what we would call a dragon screw leg whip.
Dickinson with the boot up, and this is just pandemonium. Dickinson, who we haven't got really a chance to introduce to the fans. Oh!
Now this is when you claim the ankle, and then what you will do is basically swing down to the mat in a similar fashion as you would a swinging neck breaker, but this time you are holding the ankle. And look at the angle on the ankle of Kenny King here. It is absolutely grotesquely painful, and if you don't try and anticipate and move with it, it is just going to break the bone there and then.
That's the clothesline, makes the tag.
Smart move.
Smart move. In comes Brodie King. King takes down Rush.
It's not long before Rush and Brodie King spill into the ring, and what is interesting is Rush finally gets a taste of his own medicine. He's sitting in the corner, and Brodie King comes in with a huge cannonball.
As Rush set up, cannonball!
That's the King I know.
Now the cannonball is a devastating maneuver from anyone in professional wrestling, but when you apply that to a near 300-pound Brodie King doing the cannonball, you could argue that that's the perfect receipt for that reinforced door to the head, because you're probably getting the same amount of force. Now next up, I do want to quickly talk about the tag team and the unity that VLNCE UNLTD have even at this very early stage. They are particularly effective at using the best elements of each wrestler in that faction. Watch this. You've got the technique of Chris Dickinson. He goes for that perfectly placed Falcon Arrow. So you're using the technique of Dickinson here. Followed up, you're using the agility of Homicide, who runs in for that brilliant senton that he hits immediately afterwards. And then you're using the size of Brodie King, who follows up with a huge splash, and then watch how Dickinson just slides perfectly back into position for the cover. Very impressive teamwork from VLNCE UNLTD at this very early stage in their inception as a faction. But as usual in these situations, LFI's speciality is their ability to use the numbers game against their opponent. They're very effective at that divide and conquer strategy, and that's exactly what they've got going on here.
Oh! Sent out from Bestia!
It's followed up by that vertical fireman's carry from Rush, and it looks like the punishment is about to continue until something very chaotic and interesting happens. Brodie King has probably done the smart thing, to be honest, and just said enough's enough, and he's taken the chair right to LFI.
Successfully isolated. Oh! Brodie King! King has had enough! The chair on the back of Bestia!
But here is where things get a little more interesting. Out comes Foundation. This is particularly interesting because we know that Foundation are all about respect. They're all about upholding the code of honor, but yet here they are inflicting violence on LFI and VLNCE UNLTD. To use a comic book analogy, Batman said he would never kill the Joker, and Foundation said they would never break the code of honor. But let's look at Jonathan Gresham, who's just pulling on the facial features of Brody King. And look at the expression on the face of Gresham. I would argue that there's perhaps a little more aggression there than we're used to seeing. Are Foundation in danger of losing that core ideology in order to try and restore honor? Who knows what will happen, but one thing we can be sure of is our pledge to you, the fans, to do our very best to deliver the absolute best professional wrestling product that we can every single week. Thank you for watching Ring of Honor Television, and thank you for watching Technique Tuesdays. If you want to support those unbelievable athletes, head over to shophonor.com, go grab some of their merch, go grab some ROH merch, and remember, let me know what you think of the show. What do you want me to cover next? Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time on Technique Tuesdays.
What's good, Honor Nation? It's your boy Moses from SOS. Here to let y'all know about something new Ring of Honor got going on. Their new merch website, shophonor.com, where you can get SOS merchandise, Shane Taylor merchandise, hell, anything your pretty little heart desires. Don't forget to follow Ring of Honor merch on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest and greatest Ring of Honor. Oh, have a great day, be blessed, and always remember, when one dies, 1,000 rise.